Welcome to Real Chat,
the podcast where we, Annie and Chad, discuss real shit
loosely related to the real estate industry.
Hi.
Hello, Chad. Hi, Annie. Hi, Jaclyn.
Welcome to episode 11 of Real Chat with Annie and Chad. Annie and Chad are very excited today. We have a
I've never heard you refer to us as Annie and Chad in the third person.
You haven't?
I don't think so.
I think I do that a lot, don't I?
I don't know.
You don't know? Anyways, we have a superstar with us. We do. And we have a superstar among us today.
We do.
It's not just old boring Annie and Chad. Who is that over there next to you?
That would be the Jaclyn Schmitz.
Of Brightside Insurance Agency, right? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Insurance broker.
Yes.
Extraordinaire.
Yeah.
That's new.
Wow.
When we first met you were an insurance agent.
That's right. Yeah. Working for someone. Not
no more.
Not no more. Kind of like you guys following in your footsteps.
Yeah.
I think we all did it about the same time, didn't we?
Mine was just after yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was close though.
Yeah. Exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
Tell us about yourself, your company. Give us a little ditty.
Yeah, sure. So
What's going
We
on?
don't say Diddy
We don't.
anymore. I'm just saying.
You know what I saw the other day?
My shirt?
Diddy kissing Santa Claus.
What?
Okay, tell the story. Go.
So we were supposed to wear ugly sweaters to that event we went to.
Right.
And I don't have one of those ugly sweaters. So I got on Amazon, and the only one that you could get overnight was a picture of Santa Claus with P. Diddy, and it said, "I saw Diddy kissing Santa Claus." And Chad and I thought it was funny, but everybody else thought it would be very inappropriate.
Tis the season,
I did
right?
not get it. I don't think Diddy needs any exposure.
No, that's awful.
It is.
What he did. But anyways, I digress. Back to Jaclyn Schmitz.
Yeah.
Insurance extraordinaire. So what's your favorite insurance to write?
Favorite insurance. Oh, I don't know. I get a little geeked out on just all the details, all the legal jargon, all the I don't know. Favorite insurance? I don't know. I mean, obviously I've been doing personal lines for 13 years. It's been a really long time. Mm-hmm. And then commercial's only been a couple years. But really diving into that, and I love working with the small business owners and making sure that they have both correctly without those gaps, because a lot of times somebody will have a personal lines agent and then they'll have their small business or commercial insurance. There's all these unknown gaps because those two people aren't communicating. Mm-hmm. Or it's written with companies that are meant for really, really small businesses and not for the growth. And there's a lot of exclusions or different things like that. So I don't know.
It is crazy how you just say like geek out. Like I geek out about the sale contracts and agency agreements and stuff like that, right? Like the insurance industry has the same thing. Like,
yeah.
So you have to read all that. Like I didn't know that until recently when you sent me one of them to review for some reason. I don't even remember why, but
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this is worse than a residential sale contract. Like what the?
When you say that though, and I think about the first time that we met you and you were going to look at a rental property insurance, and we ended up going through like all of my policies.
Right.
And I just remember like nobody had ever done that.
Yeah.
And and I was like, well, why is this one so much more? And then just how much I was so undercovered on things,
right.
And like personal things like toys that weren't covered. And so you were the first person that's ever educated me on what I really needed to be insured on.
Yeah.
So.
And that's a passion. I think just like you guys and with your agents, like my business partner and I, we definitely have that same mindset where it's all about, empowering our customers, providing and spreading that information. why do you have what you have? Why do you need what I'm recommending? There can always be cheaper, there can always be different, whatever, but going through and understanding the pain points of the customer or what they really care about is really where that starts.
Yeah.
So really listening to people, what they're concerned about, what keeps them up at night.
Right.
Oh, I heard, like when you hear stories about, they're saying something about a situation that happened to their neighbor, and can you believe that this didn't get covered, or can you believe, and then I'm like, oh, okay, note to self, like,
Yep.
this is an important piece, for this individual, or what exactly is the difference here? Like, why do I need this? Is this really worth $500 more? And that, then
Right.
you drill into that, like, well, this is specifically an incident that, would be different. Oh, well, I don't really care about that. Okay, perfect. Don't need that then.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I mean, it's all about the conversation and the
Yeah.
consultation.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we've been having that conversation about consultations recently in our industry too. Good
Yeah.
God. But it's true. It is something that should be done. I mean,
Absolutely.
because there is
Yeah.
a lot of nuance to insurance that I didn't even know. Like
Well, I
first of
like
all,
that you
got-
just give the information and say,
Right.
Right.
well, do you care if an earthquake happens that
Right.
your house will not be covered? Like, you don't have to have it.
Right.
But-
I mean, you can over-insure yourselves. You can insure for every single thing. Chad, I think one time you came to me and you go, you know what? It just frustrates me about your industry. And I was like, what, Chad? And he goes, you just don't know until you're dealt with the situation. Like, you don't know that there's an option for this or an option
Right.
for that.
It's true.
And I know that was like a pain point for you. And so sometimes these new coverages are added, or these new exclusions are added. And I mean, that happens quickly in our
I
industry.
think that,
So
yeah, I mean, it's all of those. I mean, one of the big things that I think you discovered in that initial consultation that you were just talking about was that we have rental properties, and the rental properties were not covered
When they were vacant.
When they were vacant, unless, like, some stupid ass clause in the insurance policy that unless we notified the insurance company that it was vacant, which why the hell does that make any difference?
Well, you
It's
changed
beyond
the
me,
policy,
but-
right?
yeah, I mean, it depends on each carrier, and I mean, that's
Yep.
one of the first questions of my renters now, or those landlords. Short-term rentals are huge, right? So
right.
there are companies out there that have no issue with it being a short-term rental. Like, if you only have contracts for,
a day,
or
2 days, right?
3 months, whatever. But if it's not an annual contract, there are some carriers that's not acceptable unless somebody moves out, and then we just have to verify, like, okay, this is a short-term situation. Like, will you be okay with extending coverage, as long as it doesn't exceed 30 days or whatever the case is. So sometimes it's just double checking
Right.
with the underwriters, and because, the contract language can get pretty overwhelming. I mean, even for an agent, sometimes, like, every nuance. And
Well,
so-
you guys have too, especially with we have a contract that we deal with. How many companies do you write through?
Oh my God. I mean, on the personal line side, it's well over 30.
Yeah.
And then on the commercial side, we have hundreds.
So they all have their own contract
Yes.
that they've created that you have to read, and yeah.
And then all the different states too. So I'm licensed in 4 states. And so each state could have some different components, and then each policy type, right? So your homeowners contract, your auto contract, your umbrella contract, and then on the commercial side, like, obviously there's a bunch of different
crazy.
elements. So yeah,
I didn't even realize. I know this makes me seem stupid, but I'm okay with that. I did not realize, like, it didn't dawn on me until, I don't know. It was probably one of my conversations with you. So when did we meet? 2017, something like that? 18,
I think so.
somewhere in there. So it's been within the last 10 years. I didn't realize it was a contract. Like my insurance that I bought. Like, and so
Well,
it
you
made
were
me
actually
go,
opposed
like,
to insurance agents. You're trying to
I
get me
was.
convinced to go to Progressive. Oh, is it Progressive?
What? Oh,
Online.
no. That's still an insurance agent.
I know, but you did not have a Jaclyn.
No, that's true.
You had
I did not have a Jaclyn.
And online, you were the people I always talk about. If you know somebody who doesn't have a person,
Right.
please
I didn't-
connect me with them.
Well, and all I owned was 2 cars and a house, so it really wasn't, the end of the world. I was all right, but then when I started getting more, it became more important for sure. But I didn't ever care, first of all, because I didn't have enough money to pay the deductible. So even if the house got knocked over, it was staying knocked over. So like that was back then, and
So
whatever.
much has changed.
Now we're here.
Yes.
But anyways, I didn't realize that it was an actual contract, that when you pay that money, you're paying for an agreement that the insurance company will fix it if there's a problem, right? And that's enforceable or whatever. And so like reading that shit before you sign it, I mean, I would never sign a sales contract for a house without reading it first. Why do I not read my insurance contract? It would take me 10 years to read all of the insurance
Right.
contracts I have. However, that is why I have Jaclyn.
Exactly.
Yep.
Because now I have more insurance than you would believe, which is all necessary. Too.
Yes, I was going to say, you're
I
not
didn't-
over.
I didn't mean that in a bad way. That came out in a bad
No,
way.
you
I
have
didn't
all the
mean it
insurance
in a bad
you
way.
need.
Right.
Yes.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't even think, like, even as a landlord, like I had that was a few years ago. Also, we had that whenever you and I bought our rental properties together, and we put them in an LLC that we were 50% over, and I called and got insurance on the houses, but then I didn't think about having insurance because they were no longer in our personal names. Our personal liability umbrella wouldn't cover, so we had to have an umbrella policy or a business owner's policy for that company that owned those rental properties. But my brain didn't think about that to cover the gaps in the
Yep.
liability on the homeowner's policy, even
Yeah.
though the only thing we did was own homes and rent houses out. If we got, they could come through to our selves, and I didn't want to have that happen. I like my shit. I don't want nobody taking it.
That's right. Yeah. And let the insurance company pay for it or something. I mean, I heard this recently, like Missouri is one of the most litigious states. Like there are more,
Really?
yeah. And I was
Really?
thinking like, I would have thought that like, I don't know, California or
Right.
Yeah.
some other place, but Missouri was ranked very, very high. And I was just a little bit surprised by that. But then maybe it's just because, I don't know, I've always pretty much lived here. So I mean, people are suing people all the time.
Yeah.
I've never sued anybody.
You've been sued
I've been sued.
a couple of times.
Have I?
I can count 3 since I've known you.
Oh my.
Yes. Not that they were all bullshit, but as most lawsuits are.
Yeah,
I mean, like
yeah.
you the one was the costume, the infamous costume.
Let's talk about that. Let's not talk about that.
I mean, like, so dumb.
No, this is new. I don't know. I don't know
You
this
don't know
story.
that story? Yeah, so Annie owns the dance studio.
Right.
And, yeah.
Don't tell the story.
Why? The person left and they wanted the money back for their costume, even though they kept the costume. Like, but you have the product. Why are you getting your money back? So, anyways, they went to court and made their arguments, and the judge said, "No, ma'am, you're not getting your money back. You have the costume."
It was a little more than that. The costume did come to the court hearing, but the costume was not the reason for the suit.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, there was that one. Then
I guess
there
I've
was
sued
the-
for possession. I guess
then
I've
there
sued
was-
tenants for,
Yeah, you've sued for possession, evictions.
but I've never sued somebody. Like
I sued my HOA because they wouldn't hold a damn election during COVID, and Gestapo that was running it was pissing me off.
I mean, you guys are giving great reasons why people need to make sure they're insured.
I know, right?
Thank you.
It's true.
Well-
you remember the time we didn't have insurance for that one day because somebody forgot to call and get insurance, and then something fell off of a kiosk in the mall that we happened to own, and then we
This
got
was
sued for
before
that.
me.
it was.
It was well before you, yes. Yeah. But like that's a good story for insurance. Like people just letting it's not going to happen, and he even had
This is-
intention to get insurance.
This is why you need a broker.
Right.
or an agent, because you wouldn't let our insurance lap without calling and saying, "Hey, dummy,
Right.
Hey,
you
what's
have
going
no
on?
insurance."
Right.
Right. Yeah.
It was crazy.
Sometimes we call that insurance babysitters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all need them. Because it's not something
Some
you
of
think
us
about
do.
until you
Sometimes.
need it. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you don't think about insurance till you have a claim.
That's true.
So,
No, I think about insurance all the time now. I probably drive you crazy, don't I?
Nope.
Yes, I do.
Nope.
You
drives me crazy.
you
Go
can tell
ahead,
the
admit
truth.
it.
I'm telling you the
You can
truth.
be on Team Annie. Chad drives us crazy.
I mean about other things.
Oh. Go ahead. What do I drive you crazy about, Jaclyn?
I don't know.
Do it. Tell me.
Nothing recently.
Oh, good.
Sorry,
me to
sorry,
go?
Annie.
Better. Yeah. What do I do that drives you crazy? Go ahead.
Oh, nothing. You're just perfect.
You're so full of shit. Ridiculous.
Hey, business owners are going to have some type of disagreements.
I know. Often.
Well, it's the only way to grow. Both of you.
The problem is we both need to have the last word.
Yeah, we do.
And that's a problem.
Do you need mediation?
Probably.
I think they call it therapy, don't they? Isn't that what they call it?
Maybe.
Couples therapy. What is so insurance agent, Brightside Insurance Agency, that's the name of your
Yeah.
insurance agency, and you sell all kinds of policies, but I don't have a favorite, but do you have a policy that is the most difficult right now? Like a type of insurance that's the most difficult to write? And not saying that you don't like to do it, but like just what is the most difficult insurance right now? Because I know the insurance market has been fucking nuts
Yes,
for like
yes, it
2.5
has.
years now. So like, but-
Homeowners by far.
yeah.
Yeah. And being that we're, real estate company.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is by far the most difficult. Not just for me to write. Rates are horrible.
Right.
Coverages are changing. Wind and hail deductibles are going through the roof.
Crazy.
There's a lot of carriers that are pushing really high minimums for wind and hail now, right here in Missouri. Like this is what we used to hear and see happen in Florida.
Right.
With, the hurricanes and everything. And nope, for wind and hail, it's huge.
But we had
here.
a bad year.
We did. We had, I think I counted back 9 cat storms. And what that means is it's catastrophic. So there's a certain rating that when it hits that certain rating, then they deem it a catastrophic storm. And for companies, for the carriers, they don't technically count that against them. It goes to their reinsurance. But at the same point, reinsurance costs are costing more, which is why insurance overall is going up. It's affecting, it is a trickle down effect. People are like, but I didn't make any claims. And I'm
Right.
like, I know, but you're in the zip code and you're in the county of where they were just hit horribly. And if your house was missed, congratulations. Like, good that you didn't have to go through all the issues that everybody else did. Now, granted, I know you don't have a new roof, but still, like...
Now, my perception is that you get blamed. So, like, I feel like we have the issue of interest rates going up and people they make decisions based on that, but they don't blame us for it. But I feel like you're always like... You guys are like it's your choice.
I would say that in general, probably agents in the market, people might come after them and blame. But I've got to tell you, I actually have some really, really great clients. And I think that just through education through the years, they don't come at me.
Good.
It might be, wow, Jaclyn, what options do we have? But it's never like, why did you raise my rates? Very rarely do I get something like that.
That's just how they sound to us before they call you.
Oh, so they're reaching out to you first.
Right. Like, oh my gosh.
By rarely.
Well, and we'll say that. Call Jaclyn.
Yeah.
Oh, but some people are oblivious to what's going on around them. They don't understand
That's true.
why it's happening, and then they get that bill, and
Right.
went up $400.
Yeah, and they don't understand. I don't feel like I feel like people blame us for interest rates too.
Which
I
you
don't
guys
ever feel blamed for that.
Have nothing to do. I mean, that's lending, right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
but I mean, and the lenders, honestly,
don't-
loan officers have nothing to do with interest rates either.
No,
It's,
it's the Fed,
but,
right?
yeah,
Or whoever.
The market.
Well,
But-
the difference is interest rates go up. You can choose not to buy a house.
True.
You need to be insured.
You do have
That
so
to.
it's something you have to fit it in your budget.
Yeah.
No, and somebody said to me, it's so funny when we were sitting in a closing this morning and the client was complaining about insurance because he sees it as a racket in general which he has some valid points, right? The government requires you to have insurance on certain things and then nobody's checking the insurance companies. So to your point, and you are not making these decisions, so I can talk about this with you, right? It's not your fault, but the insurance companies, if they lose money this year, they just raise their rates next year.
Right.
And they know they're not losing you as a client because you have to have insurance. Like it's required in Missouri, at least, to have insurance on your cars and are at a minimum level. And if you have a loan on your house, you have to have homeowners insurance or the loan company's going to buy it for you. So
that brings a good question. Do you find people are underinsured now? Like they've got to have, they're dropping things off of their policy or making huge, to Chad's point, deductibles they could never meet in order to afford insurance at all?
So, no, I'm not seeing that. Probably the biggest issue that I've come up with in terms of people that aren't my clients that are coming to me like for a solution is that they're being dropped. That's probably the next like most horrible thing. And they feel, you feel like you did something wrong. You're being dropped by your insurance. What? Like, I just made a claim. But what people don't understand is even if you like call in something that isn't technically a claim or shouldn't be a claim, you probably should have called your agent first or your rather than calling the actual company, because once that's recorded, like that's a claim. Even if it never goes anywhere, it's documented. So if you have two of those plus whatever legitimate claim that had to get dealt with or paid out, then 3 strikes, you're out. And there's one company specifically that 3 strikes, you're out. And
how long do you get for 3 strikes?
And 3 strikes, you're out. Ever.
Wow.
And there was a lot of those in Winsville, which
back to
obviously
back,
where we had 2 of the biggest storms back to back, and and
I was talking to a client of ours the other day, and they were asking me about this, and I told them to call their insurance agent. I didn't answer the question, but I'm curious what the answer to the question is. So they had filed a claim, and they were asking me because, again, to Annie's point, whenever it has to do with a house, people tend to call us, even though it has nothing to do with us at all. We sell houses. We don't manage them. We don't fix them. We don't know anything about them inside, like functionally, except for how to sell them and what it's supposed to look like. So,
but real quick, that says a lot about your guys' rapport that you build with your clients, because you seem to be the trusted source, even done and after the sale.
Oh, for sure.
So
and we
annoying maybe, but
no, it's not even annoying. It's just we do it on purpose, absolutely, because it is our job to manage. When you go to sell it, we want to make sure that you've taken care of it. So we go find trusted partners like you, and like these people are the people that you should be using to make sure that you protect that investment, so that when we go to cash in that equity, we can, right? But they were asking me a question about an insurance claim, and I said, call your insurance agent and ask them, but then they're at a closed company, so the insurance agent works for the insurance company. They're not a broker like you.
A captive company.
Captive company, whatever the word is, right? So like a State Farm is a captive company. Like if you see a State Farm agent office, that office is owned by State Farm, the insurance company, whereas Brightside Insurance Agency is owned by Jaclyn Schmitz and what's your
Patrick.
Yeah. And then you guys have deals with the insurance companies to sell their product on their behalf. And so I know that there's that line, right? For you're a broker, you're selling somebody else's insurance. So like for me, that's comforting because I know, yes, you want to sell me the insurance, but if I don't like something about the policy, then there's other options available, right? And I know you'll give me your honest opinion because it's not your company that you're working for that's actually going to have to pay out the claims and stuff like that when I call for claim advice.
Right.
This particular person was not. But so can insurance agents and captive companies still give honest advice, or do they have some sort of duty to report what they know to the insurance agent? And maybe you have that duty too. I don't know.
I mean, if we know something, we do. I mean, I've worked with you guys on a claim, and like there's a piece where I had to disclose that, and but I also wanted to verify through trusted partners that I was doing the correct thing. So it just, you just kind of ask first and foremost. But there are times that absolutely you should be reporting everything, but sometimes things aren't covered. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to file something that isn't of enough damage. And so in my opinion, and again, I'm not a State Farm agent, but I was at one time a captive agent.
I know that's another reason why I was asking, but I don't want to say for who.
and they, you can gather information to help guide your client as to whether or not they should be filing a claim or not. I mean, the question all the time too is like, hey, I was just involved in an accident. It wasn't my fault though. I mean, should you report it to your insurance company? Yes, and no. Like if it absolutely was not your fault, like that, then the person that was at fault should be taking care of that. So, but again, I mean, there are many times that people are like, well, I know my carrier, I'd rather just file with them. And then.
Is that a strike?
I mean, it is until
if it's not your fault
until it is subrogated, which just means that they were able to retrieve the money of the at-fault party, but that can take years.
Oh wow!
So, I mean, it is coded differently, right? It's a not at fault versus an at fault. And if you're shopping your insurance often, like in this market, we've had to. I mean, ideally, you shouldn't shop your insurance, and you shouldn't have to shop your insurance, but every 3 to 5 years. But in this market, 6 months on auto, sometimes a year, every single year on homeowners. And this has been going on for a couple of years.
Yeah, it has, because I've had a different.
I know.
Spilled beans, right? I had a different homeowners insurance company every year for the last 3 years, and then it went up again this year, and I was like, and I know I sounded very annoyed by that, and I know it's not your fault. You look like you're going to cry right now. So nobody blamed Jaclyn for this, but I called Jaclyn, and I'm
Chad
like,
actually blamed you.
Did you?
Oh, bullshit! I did not.
I was like, you were very nice to me about it.
I know it's not your fault, and I called you, and I'm like, I'm not doing it again. I don't even care that it went up. I'm staying where I'm at. Like I'm not.
Did say I don't really like the switch, and
It's a lot.
It is. It's and
I had an option to raise my deductible a little bit at the time to bring the cost back down in line, so that's what I did just to avoid switching.
You had watched me the week before redo all of those, and you were like, "I'm not doing it."
I'm not doing it.
Do you
that
know?
was the day that Jaclyn and I need this, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Do you
Annie, you got lots of toys.
She's bougie. That's why. The bougie people
and my
have to
toys
have
used to
lots
not
of
be insured
insurance.
before
I know. Oh my gosh.
I have lots of toys too. I can't do it again. I can't switch again. I can't.
There is, right? Everybody has a threshold.
Right.
And for what the savings would have been, it really wasn't worth it for the hassle. But there are other people.
Well, and we're moving a bunch of stuff around right now too, and all of that. So it was just weird.
Time of flux.
Right. But yeah. Anyways, I don't know.
But we are very grateful that we have you to do all that.
Well, thank you.
And ask every question.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And I mean, you guys team me up really well with your clients, and so I'm just really glad to be able to help them and develop relationships with them too.
Yes. And then when they call us, we can say, call Jaclyn.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes they do.
sorry.
Or they wait until they see me next. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, you were on my list. I visually see the list.
Right. That's why I thought you
Was
were
that
getting
supposed
yelled
to be
at.
a jab at me? Is that what that was?
It was a jab at Annie.
I just
What
let it
did
go.
I missed
just let
it.
it fly.
Well, I missed it.
Just this afternoon, you were busy setting up for the podcast, and she goes, I see you. And then I remembered Jaclyn was on my to-do list for liability. I have a question.
Right.
She does that to me all the time too. It's rude.
I put you on a list.
Yeah. That I'm not dealing with you right now list. Out of sight, out of mind.
That was not the same list Jaclyn was on. What was that noise?
I was trying not to snort so hard or laugh so hard that I snorted, and that was the slow snort.
I love your laugh.
We've digressed. Oh my God. Okay, so aside from insurance, we have just like a few minutes left,
Sure.
a couple minutes. What else do you do? Like, tell us about you. What makes you
So-
special?
I don't know. I'm a little extra
Bit
giving.
rock and roll.
No, I don't. What makes me special? What do I like to do? I mean, I love to travel. You guys know I love to travel.
Yeah.
And
Oh, your nonprofit's got some big things coming.
yes. So in that spare time that doesn't much exist, yeah, we have a nonprofit, the Freedom 13, and we just purchased our first freedom camp in Bourbon, Missouri. So 171 acres. And
Amazing.
yeah, we're building retreat centers for veterans, and it'll be good. But it's one piece at a time. We still have like 11 more houses to build, and then get all the operations in order, and then camp one of Mark's big lofty goal, all 50 states.
Oh, wow. Really?
So yeah,
Wow.
but we gotta
It's one at a
walk
time.
before we run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta get the momentum going. We just
Yeah.
had a whole conversation about
Right.
momentum last week.
100%, because it
Gotta figure
started.
it
It
out.
takes forever
It
to get
does.
that going, get
It
the
does.
momentum going, though.
Yeah.
So, but you guys are on the way.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah. So there's that. So I get to be involved. That's more of a passion project, and I feel like Mark's everything. So, and then the kids keep us busy too. Got 2 girls, 13 and 15, and
Ew.
it's not.
Did you say ooh?
Ew.
No, thank you.
They're darling.
Sometimes. Sometimes they got a little bit of sass.
I don't know where they get that.
It's just
Their
the
father.
teenage girl thing. The sass.
No, the sass
Yeah.
probably comes from me. The hard-headedness comes from him.
Okay. Fair. Fair.
I prefer to deal with girls when they're younger, like I knew your kids then, like the 6 and 7 and 8-year-old girls are the best to like deal with, and from a behavior standpoint, for me, they're the easiest to tolerate. And
That's
then,
because they don't see through your bullshit
and
yet.
then, man, she is aggressive today, isn't she?
Wow,
I don't mean
Annie.
you. I just mean children in general.
Well, you sure did look right into my soul when you said that.
Ouch. Annie, I do remember, I think one of my girls didn't like you for a minute.
Oh, don't bring that up. She'll get salty.
it's so true.
It's the first time ever that a
Somebody
child
didn't
did not
like
like
Annie.
Annie. A child specifically. Like, Annie runs a dance studio, so she's around children all the time. They
Right.
all love her. The parents get mad because they like her Annie better than them.
Them, yeah.
Not your daughter.
Well, it was evidently your fault that
You
we moved.
Right.
Yeah, because she loves her mommy so much. She's not gonna blame me.
I got blamed for
That
that.
you did get blamed for that. I
They
forgot
bought the
what
most
started
amazing,
that.
beautiful,
Yes.
gorgeous mansion of a house, and she was mad at me.
It was
Because-
too
yeah.
big, and I took her away from her friends.
Yeah. Because we represented you. I forgot that's what started that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It was all in the midst of COVID, so there was extra emotions going on.
And I
for
made her
sure.
clean her room when I came over that night.
Yeah, but
Oh,
Katie helped too.
I know. I don't think she's a fan of hers either.
don't think that's the case.
No, it was just me.
Just let Annie believe
Yeah.
that so she can sleep better tonight.
Sure.
Yeah,
But
she's
I had
not
the
a fan of Katie either.
conversation. I had the conversation with Elle. Like, you do realize it wasn't Annie's fault. Like, that was a decision your dad and I made. Oh, okay. Well, now I'm mad at you guys, and she's my friend now.
She is friends with you now.
Yeah.
I've seen her recently with you. You're friends.
Yeah, she loves you guys. I told her, I was like, hey, I'm heading out. I'm gonna go see Annie and Chad, and she's like, oh, tell my best friends I said hi.
She always liked Chad. She was never mad at him.
I don't understand that either. Kids usually do like me. You know that
Which is
from working
that-
at the dance
right,
studio.
even the
But I
teenagers.
I have no use. I know, and that sounds terrible, but it's the truth.
And
Like, I
see,
just
when
don't.
I said that, I was just saying the truth.
I know. They do tend to like me, though. I just don't prefer to be around little kids. Like, I need
Or
to-
teenagers.
Teenagers are all right. They're better. Teenagers like me because I'm sassy. And I don't have that thing where I'm like not going to say what I think I'm thinking to your kid just because it's your kid. I don't really care what you want. You don't want me to say something to your kid, take them somewhere else. It's kind of how I feel about it.
And I'm the problem.
Teenagers appreciate that authenticity because
Yes.
teenagers don't typically get that authenticity from adults. But little kids, they got to understand logic if you're going to be around Chad.
How did we get on this?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Anyways, digress. So if somebody, and I'm sure there will be somebody, wants to talk to you about their insurance, what should they do?
Well, they can give me a call at the office.
And that phone number would be?
636 229-1410.
Or you can call Annie or I, and we'll give you the
Yeah.
phone number
Right.
too. But
That's right.
call you at the office, or do you have an email or
Yep.
an
So
online? Like, what's the best way?
Yeah, so I mean, you can email me as well. It's a little bit long, but Jaclyn.Schmitz at brightsideins.com. You can always go to our website as well and just request like a consultation. That's so brightsideins.com is the website. So you can go and I'd be happy to chat, whether it's commercial insurance or personal insurance. And it's not that we're not writing homes. It's just not a fun time right now.
If you have to
And I
deal with your
think-
homeowners insurance, you're not going to have fun at all.
I think every insurance agent from every carrier right now would say probably the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a tough year.
Well, I just bought a house and it was I was friggin' floored how much that insurance
I know.
was, but it was whatever.
Gotta be
It was
insured.
What it was. Don't want to lose my house. So,
Yeah.
okay, cool. We'll reach out to that. Thank you for
Thank you,
sitting down
guys.
with us today and
Thank you.
playing along with our
Antics.
omnidirectional conversation, loosely related to real estate. That was a big word. It made sense in the sentence. Don't tell me it didn't.
I'm not
So,
gonna.
thank you, Jaclyn, for
Thank you,
coming
guys.
today.
Thanks for inviting.
We'll see everybody next week for episode 12, because this was episode 11 of Real Chat with Annie and Chad. If you enjoy watching them, make sure you smash the follow button so you get notified when the next episode comes out. See you guys later.